Record in the American League. The defending American League champions are on their way to the postseason again. It sure looks like it. And look how loose and relaxed they are after the season they have put together. For the Baltimore Orioles, they have not had the kind of season they were hoping for, but one of the game's brightest young stars in 23-year-old Manny Machado as these two teams look to settle this three-game series here tonight. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is brought to you by Taco Bell. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Baltimore. Beautiful Camden Yards. Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, John Kruk will join Buster Olney in a moment. We've got the Royals and the Orioles. Let's start with Kansas City. The defending American League champions took the Giants, Krucky, all the way to the ninth inning of Game 7 of the World Series last year. They're heading back to the playoffs again. How do you like the way they're sizing up right now?
Well, with the best record in American League, you think everything's all hunky-dory in Royals land, but they have some issues. And, you know, Ned Yost has changed the lineup. Alex Gordon's going to lead off. Ben Zober's going to be 2. They dropped Alcides Escobar to 9. The closer situation with Greg Holland. He's not the dominant closer he was last year. They have other options if he continues to struggle down the stretch. And to me, the biggest one, who's number one? Is Johnny Cueto going to step up and be that number one guy that they thought they were getting at the trade deadline?
That's exactly what they were looking for when they got him from Cincinnati, but he's in maybe the worst 4-start stretch, Jess, of his career. 21 earned runs allowed in his last 20 innings. How big is this start tonight?
It's huge. I mean, you think about good Johnny Cueto. He owns all parts of the zone with 5 different pitches, and what he's done lately in those last 4 starts is he's really struggled to get inside of that left side of the plate with his cutter, his slider. He's left balls up in the zone, and really, when you think about Johnny Cueto, this is a guy who has fun. He's able to mess with hitters with his timing. He smiles. He enjoys the game, but that is not the face that we see. You see that last look there from Johnny. This is a guy who knows he's struggling and he needs to get that confidence back. That's what we're going to look for in this game.
I'll tell you a guy who had fun last night. Mike Moustakas had fun last night. He drove in 9 runs against the Orioles to set a new Royals franchise record. He's on the field with Buster Olney.
Mike, with Johnny Cueto struggling, what have you guys done in the clubhouse to try to put him at ease?
You know, Johnny's a professional. He goes out there every day and, you know, he competes. So he's been doing this for a long time, so we just go out there and try to play good defense behind him. And, you know, we know he's going to snap out of this thing at some point and get back to how he's always been.
9 RBI yesterday. You guys moved one step closer to wrapping up home field advantage in the American League playoffs. Among the players, how much talk is there about that, about getting home field advantage?
Not too much. You know, we try to go out there and take care of business each night. Each night is an opportunity to win a ball game, and that's what we try to do. We try to focus on what's on our plate at that time and you know, go out there, see what happens, and then at the end of this thing, we'll see where we're at.
Mike, thanks. Dan, back to you. All
right, Buster, thank you. Well, what's on their plate is their number one guy is on the mound, and Royals Nation is hoping for a better effort tonight from Johnny Cueto than they have seen in his last 4 starts. They'll take on the Baltimore Orioles. They've got a lot of power. Chris Davis has 22 home runs since the All-Star break. And Manny Machado's got a ton of power as well, 28 home runs on the season. It's the rubber match of a 3-game series between the Royals and the Orioles from Camden Yards. Sunday Night Baseball is next. Welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Baltimore Orioles hosting the Kansas City Royals tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. The Royals with the best record in the American League at 84-57. And if you ask Ned Yost how important is it for his team to maintain that best record, he said it is very important. They're going to do whatever they can to maintain home field advantage throughout the American League playoffs. The Blue Jays lost today, so Kansas City 3 better than Toronto right now. Here's the lineup for the Royals, presented by Taco Bell. And twice in the last week, Ned Yost has made some changes. First, he moved Zobrist to lead off, Gordon to second. Now he's flipped them. Gordon leading off, Zobrist second. There's the reason why. The .394 on base percentage for Alex Gordon. Ben Zobrist, versatile as anybody, hitting second. Alcides Escobar struggling down to the 9 spot. Lorenzo Cain not struggling. He's having himself a great year, and he has been an absolute terror for the Baltimore Orioles, going back to the ALCS last year, but against the Orioles all through the season again this year. On the mound tonight for Baltimore is left-hander Wei-Yin Chen. Starting pitching Crucky has been a major problem for Baltimore this year. Chen's been about the most consistent guy they've had this season.
Yeah, he has been, Dan, and he's not a power guy. He does give up a lot of home runs. He will elevate the fastball when he's not commanding it, and when he does that, he can't overpower people, and that's when the ball flies out of the park.
Been a tough year for Baltimore, the defending American League East Division champs. They won 96 games last year. And as Buck Showalter reminded us, they didn't have a great season from Chris Davis last year. Matt Wieters was out a lot of the season. Manny Machado missed a lot of the season. They won 96 games. So much optimism coming into this season. And a lot of things have gone wrong for the Orioles. We'll talk about that over the course of the evening. They are 68-73 right now, in 4th place in the American League East, 13 games back of Toronto. We are ready to go here in Baltimore, as the first pitch of the night is in for a called strike. Alex Gordon missed almost 2 months with a groin injury, just came back about 10 days ago, and he's hitting .355 since he returned, 11 for 31. But he's quickly in an 0-2 hole against Chen. One of the game's great defensive left fielders. Lays off the high fastball at 94. Ball 1-1-2.
Wei-Yin Chen making a liar out of me, not overpowering. 94 is pretty good.
You can see too, he's a quick worker. He just gets right back on the rubber. Gordon not even getting out of the box.
Is the 2-2 on the way, and a swing and a foul back by Gordon.
After consecutive nights of seemingly 4-hour games for these two teams, and I'm sure Mr. Chen doesn't want to stay out here for another 4.
4-hour game with a 3-hour rain delay yesterday.
Those are always a blast. Yep, they are.
2-2, and the breaking ball down and away, a full count on Gordon. After Gordon, it'll be Ben Zobrist, then Lorenzo Cain. The Royals are 4th in the American League in runs scored, despite the fact they are tied for the fewest home runs in the league. Liner to right field will carry out to Gerardo Parra for out number 1. Number 2 hitter for Kansas City, and boy, does he seem to meet the needs of what the Royals had because of his versatility. Crucky, he can play almost anywhere, but for the Royals, they were looking maybe for somebody who could play some second, somebody who could play some right, and those are 2 of Ben Zobrist's specialties.
Filled in for Alex Gordon in left field when Gordon was hurt, and Omar Infante struggling offensively, who was the everyday second baseman last year, and Zobrist just assuming that role. And another guy, Dan, who can get on base. He's switch hitter to protect Gordon, and he's got a little pop in his bat too, hitting in front of Lorenzo Cain and Eric Hosmer and Kendrys Morales. He's going to get better pitches to hit in the second spot. So it's really deep lineup now by Kansas City.
Do you think this is the way the Royals guys line it up in the playoffs? Zobrist at second, Rios or somebody in right field, and Omar Infante on the bench?
Yeah, Rios or Dyson, whichever one, depending on the situation Ned Yost wants to use. But yes, I firmly believe that Ben Zobrist is going to be their second baseman when the postseason starts. He might maybe move Infante in for defense late in the game if they have a lead, but Ben Zobrist isn't no slack at second base either.
Fastball in on his hands, fouled back, 2-2.
I like the versatility. You mentioned it, Crucky, that Zobrist brings to the plate. He's got power from the left. He's consistent from the right, so he has those options. And he can go both sides and be able to give that good mix at the top of the lineup.
And if anybody were to get hurt, you could move Zobrist there. I mean, he played left field, right? When Gordon was out, when he first came over, you can play him at short, you can play him at third, you can play him pretty much anywhere. As you can see, he's done everything except pitch and catch.
And I'm sure if they asked him, he'd try that too.
Line down the left field line, a fair ball. And Zobrist easily into second with a one-out double.
Well, and if you look at the location of where this pitch is, it's coming low and into the hands of Zobrist. And watch him just keep tight and close to his body. He's able to take this pitch, drive it down the line. And he doesn't try to do a whole lot with it. This ball's breaking away. It's not a bad pitch. He drives it for a double.
Just a better hitter, or a better at bat than the pitcher was pitching to him in that one. And that's what he can do. He's remarkably gifted. He's one of those everyday utility guys.
Here's Lorenzo Cain, fourth in the American League in batting at .314, second in the league in stolen bases at 27. Just getting better and better year by year.
A late bloomer to the game of baseball.
He didn't play organized baseball until high school. Had not played any baseball at all, in fact, until high school. I think a well-known story. Got cut from the basketball team. His mom wouldn't let him play football, so he tried out for the baseball team. They needed a guy. He didn't have any equipment. He had never played, but because they needed a ninth guy, he made the team, and here he is some years later, an all-star.
Hitting third for the team with the best record in the American League.
I love how his high school coach talks about, him question mark tagging up. What is that? Trying to explain the game to him. He's like, the fact that he is in pro baseball now and didn't have cleats or a glove or any idea of the basics of baseball.
Did pretty well in the playoffs last year. Did incredibly well against Baltimore in the ALCS. Went 8 for 15. Won the American League Championship Series MVP. Kansas City swept that series. And this guy, he won't win the MVP this year in the American League, but he'll get some votes. He'll be 4, 5, 6, 7. He'll be somewhere.
He's in my top 5. Not that my vote matters at all. But I mean, when I look at the top 5 players in the AL, and I'm an outfielder, and maybe there's some partiality to that, but this is a guy who's been known for his defense and just picked it up on the other side in a big way.
Did not win the Gold Glove last year. I think a lot of people, if you were to say, hey, who was the Gold Glove winner in center field, or did he win a Gold Glove? Until a few years ago, it was just 3 outfielders. So you could have 3 center fielders win the Gold Glove. But now it's a left, a center, a right. And the Gold Glove winner in the American League is that guy last year, right there, Adam Jones.
But didn't Lorenzo Cain play a lot of right field last year? And that could have hurt him some as far as games played, as opposed to Adam Jones, who seemingly plays 162 games a year every year, except this year he's been hurt a little bit.
Well, think of the competition you have out in center field. These two guys, that Trout guy's pretty good out in the outfield. And 2 guys who maybe aren't household names, and they don't have the offensive numbers, which shouldn't matter at all for a Gold Glove, but some people think it does, and that noise Crucky gave you just thinks that tells you that he's one of them. But Kevin Kiermaier in Tampa Bay and Kevin Pillar in Toronto are 2 sensational outfielders.
Pillar, that catch he just made this weekend or today against the Yankees, he does that, I swear, every weekend.
Cain to shallow left, and a sliding catch by Nolan Reimold for the second out. And a gentleman, he replaces his divot.
This is a ball Reimold's got the read the whole entire time, so he plays it safe. Does he need to go down to the slide? No, but it's a safe bet because the runner's in front of him. He can come down, make sure to be under control, and of course go back and replace the divot.
So the Royals are making Chen work. He's thrown 20 pitches already, facing 3 batters. He's gotten 2 outs, given up a double, and now he faces the cleanup hitter, first baseman Eric Hosmer.
Guys, I talked to a rival evaluator today about the new look of the top of the Royals lineup with Gordon Zobrist, and this evaluator loved it. He said these are 2 high on base percentage guys and 2 guys who are going to see a lot of pitches.
It's a deep lineup right now. The guy on deck hitting 5th has over 100 RBIs on the season, Kendry Morales. And 6 and 7, not too shabby either, as you will see in the second inning. But Chen gets out of it on the pop-up. The double is stranded. Johnny Cueto, a very important start, getting ready to take the mound.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell's new $1 Daredevil Loaded Grillers. Try all 3 if you dare. And in part by Chevrolet, find new roads. And Blue Moon Brewing Company, artfully crafted.
Nailed it. Well done, Crocky. No score going to the bottom of the first. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And this is a big start for Johnny Cueto, acquired obviously to be what he has been, an ace. He was very good in his first 4 starts for the Royals. He has not been very Cueto-like in his last 4 starts, giving up 21 earned runs in 20 innings. He's never had a stretch like that in his career. So everybody who's got an interest in the Royals is keeping a close eye on Cueto tonight.
I think the things you have to look for is his fastball command. He hasn't been able to get balls in on lefties because they say his front shoulder's flying out. You know, especially watches it bat against Chris Davis, who's swinging about as hot a power bat as anyone in baseball right now. Can he get the ball in where you have to pitch Chris Davis? If he can't, we could see some damage.
Nolan Reimold, first pitch swinging on a fastball that was right down the middle, but he hit it right at the shortstop, Alcides Escobar.
I think another big thing to watch with Cueto, too, is just his body language. I mean, this is a guy that shows a lot of emotion. That's one of his strengths, and yet when he does get hit up a little bit, you're going to see that smile kind of disappear, that looseness that he tends to carry change. And that's a big factor for a guy that has a lot of verbal and physical cues on when he's doing well.
He did have a little bit, he's got so many different deliveries. He had a little shimmy with his shoulders on that first pitch, so I don't know if that means he's feeling good. Some people will say about him, well, if he's doing that stuff, he's feeling good. And some people will say about him, well, could all of that stuff be contributing to maybe his inability to locate the ball as well as he normally does? But he's always done it, and he's been very successful doing it.
Well, and not only that, Dan, and you can see right here, look at the little turn, the hesitation, a little shoulder shake, quick turn back and gathers himself and throws a nice pitch down and into Manny Machado. But that's the one right there. If his shoulder's flying open, that thing flattens out and stays over the center of the plate. That one had some nice bite to it, but you know, they say he works on this stuff in his bullpen session, so it's not like it's anything that he just experiments or invents while the game's going on. He does it with feel. He actually works on this stuff. That's a little slow.
Now a bit of a quick pitch, and he misses just outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, and as a hitter, you're in the box and you have to be ready early. I mean, you can tell even right now with Machado, he's locked in, he's ready, but then you're waiting on the longer windups, and that can throw off your own timing.
Another quick pitch there. Off speed pitch misses down low. 3-2. When we asked Ned Yost before the game, what do you see from Cueto? What do you think's going on? He says, you know, new league, adjusting to the hitters, adjusting to expectations from new teammates. He doesn't think there's anything physically or mechanically wrong with Cueto.
That was a 5-second hanger right there, man. What? Did you see that? You get called for delay of game. Look at this. What? No, yeah, okay now.
Say, he's got a strong right leg. And now back to a quicker delivery, and he misses low ball 4, and you can see the frustration he had after he missed. Now look at the Baltimore Orioles lineup presented by Taco Bell. They can hit some home runs. They've got 190 on the season. That is 4th in the major leagues, and this guy Chris Davis has 41 of them, 22 since the All-Star break. As dangerous a hitter as there is in the game right now.
Yeah, it seems like he's been a little more selective the second half of the season. I watched a couple games this week against some tough, against some left-handed pitchers, and CC Sabathia had some great takes, which early in the season last year he was swinging through those balls. Tells you he's seeing it pretty good.
You see right there where Perez is setting up, low and in. Take a look at the defense and how much respect this outfield. Slight shift as well in the infield, but this is going to be a big test right here for Cueto.
It's a fastball by him up in the zone at 92, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
I think the only way to beat Chris Davis is to get him in on his hands. And Perez now is set up twice in there. It's missed a little bit.
Going fastball away and missing away, 2-2. Davis a free agent at season's end. The Orioles have a number of contracts coming up. More on that a little bit later. This could be a much different looking team in 2016 under Buck Showalter. Change up in the dirt and a full count. Dangerous hitter on deck in Adam Jones. Some speed at first. Do they put Machado in motion with Chris Davis at the plate?
Too many strikeouts. I don't think that.
Hit hard and into right field. Rounding second, on his way to third. Machado, the throw not in time, and the Orioles have runners on the corners with 1 out.
This is a first baseman's nightmare, having a guy like Chris Davis, how hard he hits the ball with pull power, and Johnny Cueto throws him something center in, and I mean, it just catches way too much of the strikes. I don't care if it's 3-2. You got to find a corner against Chris Davis as good as he's swinging it. But, I mean, you saw Eric Hosmer, one of the best defenders in baseball, and this ball just got by him and ate him up. That was I used to hate the guys like Darryl Strawberry come up, Barry Bonds, and you're holding a guy on first base. No, not a lot of fun, Dan.
So Cueto in an early jam. First and third, 1 out in the bottom of the first. The batter was center fielder Adam Jones. Another big power threat. He's got 26 home runs on the season.
And you saw that pitch again. Leaking, or in on the righties. He's still having some trouble commanding the outside part of the plate to righties. Well, he threw a couple good sliders to Machado, but he's got to get that fastball on all 4 quadrants of home plate if he wants to have some success. And Adam Jones will chase. He'll strike out. He'll hit into double plays. And he can do that.
High fly ball to deep left center, and it is gone. Into the Orioles pen, and they take an early 3-0 lead.
Jones with such a powerful swing. This is the area you see it leak right over the middle of the plate. Even though it's low in the zone, this is Jones' hot spot. He loves getting that ball down low. Why? Because he can get the barrel. Watch him drop his hands and blast through the zone with his barrel. That's exactly where he was looking.
And now a bullet up the middle, a base hit for Gerardo Parra. And an early visit from pitching coach Dave Island.
Well, that's the thing. You see Manny Machado imitating Johnny Cueto, but you know that's the pitch right there. But you're Adam Jones. The scouting report on Adam Jones is he will chase balls out of the strike zone. He got ahead of him. Even the count of 1-1, but you can't just try to throw something down the middle and hope he swings through it or hits a rollover grounder. He's too good a hitter to do that. You got to make him chase. And you know, it all went from fun and dandy for the first two hitters to, oh boy, now what?
His numbers in his last start a week ago today against the White Sox. Cueto was pitching on some extra rest. They had an off day this week. He was originally going to go yesterday. When this game became a night game, Ned Yost went to him and said, "You want to pitch Saturday day or Sunday night?" And Cueto said, "I prefer night games. Creature of habit. I like my routine." So he asked to be pushed back a day, in effect, to start the night game. But the early results are not promising. And start by start, people around the Kansas City Royals are wondering, is this a blip or is this a trend? This is now the 5th consecutive start where Johnny Cueto has struggled. He's been an ace. He's pitched in the postseason.
And he's had some elbow issues this year earlier. You know, when you talk to pitchers, it's not velocity. You know, everyone thinks, well, he's still throwing 92, 93, 94, whatever. It's location, and that's what you're seeing with Johnny Cueto in this first inning. No location. I'm not saying he's hurt. I don't know if he's hurt. No one's saying he's hurt. He says he's healthy. But these are kind of like little signs that tell you that there might be something more going on than just mechanical.
For what it's worth, he says he's physically fine.
Yes.
The Royals say they believe him. They feel he's physically fine. 2-2. And a ground ball to first. Hosmer to Escobar. Back to Cueto covering for the inning-ending double play. But a frustrating inning for Cueto, a damaging inning as Adam Jones takes him to the deepest part of the park in left center field. His 27th home run of the season. And at the end of one, the Orioles have a 3-0 lead. Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. 3-0 Baltimore. At the end of an inning, between innings, Johnny Cueto, another conversation with pitching coach Dave Island. Cueto surrendered a 3-run homer to Adam Jones. Eventually got out of it later in the inning with a double play. But another frustrating beginning to his start. We'll see if he can right the ship over the course of the evening. A lead for Wei-Yin Chen and the Orioles as Kendrys Morales leads off the second for Kansas City, their DH. And what a year he's having. Tied for third in the American League in RBIs with 101. Hitting the ball hard from both sides of the plate. Drop picked back up by Jonathan Scope, but still plenty of time to get Morales one down. Now Mike Moustakas, who had himself a month in a day yesterday. Moustakas with a Kansas City record, 9 runs driven in. And Elias telling us he became the first player ever to drive in 9 or more, with all of them coming in the 6th inning or later. He had a 2-run single in the 6th, the grand slam in the 7th, a 3-run homer in the 9th. And all of a sudden he's at 18 homers and 71 RBIs. And guy's a hitter who has really, he's kind of changed his MO. He's using the whole field. He's hitting lefties better than he used to. Got frustrated by the shift last year, but has really learned to counter that a little bit and having a terrific season.
No, it's amazing what happens, what opens up for you offensively when you can use the whole field.
Well, this is just a guy that just made such an effort to not be the classic pull guy, and his percentages went down by 20% practically from being that pull hitter.
Chen strikes him out. Now you look at Moustakas hitting in the 6th spot. Salvador Perez coming up now in the 7th spot. The perception of the team, I think, outside Kansas City in some parts of the country is great bullpen, great defense. You got a number 6 hitter with 18 homers, a number 7 hitter with 19 homers. They don't hit a ton of home runs, tied for the fewest in the American League, but they do have a lot of depth in their lineup. Some guys down near the bottom who can really hurt you.
And that's what I like about this lineup. When you look at the top, we talked about Gordon and Zobrist, good on base guys. They work the count. You're not going to see that in this part of the lineup because this is where a lot of the power happens. And I think they spread out that depth. They aren't so atypical. They don't do the same thing throughout the lineup.
Into right center field. Jones giving chase, not going to get there. Perez digging for second. The throw off the tip of the glove of J.J. Hardy, and Perez slides in with a double.
It shows you just what kind of arm Gerardo Parra possesses out in right field for the Baltimore Orioles, and why Buck Showalter really likes him. I mean, this is one hop off the wall. Ball had a little bit of elevation to it, and Salvador Perez doesn't run well, but still to make it that close. J.J. Hardy comes up with the throw. I mean, I don't know if J.J. Hardy thought that was a force out. He was stretching like a first baseman.
And when Perez got to second base, the look that he shot Parra was like, are you kidding me? Really?
Perez talks to opponents about as much as anybody in the game of baseball. He talks to everybody. Here's Alex Rios.
He's talking right now to Adam Jones out in center.
Rios has not had a great season, just came back from the chicken pox. Rios and Kelvin Herrera both missed some time with the chicken pox. You can see not the best of numbers for Rios, just 3 home runs on the season, although again he has missed some time. And you wonder how firm of a spot does he have as an everyday player for the Royals heading into the postseason, because they have options like Dyson, like Orlando.
Well, I think Ned Yost and the Royals, they like the versatility. So if it's between, Alex Rios staying on the roster or Paulo Orlando's a guy who can run.
Rios hooks the ball down the left field line. It's fair and will bring in a run. Perez in to score. Gliding into second is Rios with a double. And the Royals are on the board now, trailing 3-1. Here's a look at what's coming up this week on ESPN. Major League Baseball Tuesday night, presented by Mobile One. The Astros and the Rangers. A lot of interesting things in that American League West right now. Wednesday night baseball presented by Mobile One. as the show will and the game will commemorate the impact of Roberto Clemente. The Cubs and the Pirates Wednesday night. And then 1 week from tonight, we have the Yankees and the Mets coming your way. The Yankees got a very important win today, beat the Blue Jays 5-0, salvaging the final game of that 4-game series. So the Yankees still leading the wild card race in the American League. And they picked up a game on the Blue Jays today. They are 3.5 back of Toronto. A loss would have put them 5.5 back, and for all intents and purposes, probably out of the running. But they're 3.5 back of the Blue Jays, and those two teams will meet again in Toronto next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the Tuesday and Wednesday games can be seen on ESPN. Here's Alcides Escobar, shortstop, and recently demoted down to the 9 spot. Hitting just 182 over his last 22 games. Not a big on-base guy. So another one of the reasons why Ned Yost made the change. Moved Gordon up, moved Zobrist up, moved Escobar down. One more thing to tell you about next Sunday night is the Mets reportedly announced today that Matt Harvey will start that game next Sunday and will make so-called half starts the rest of the way. He'll pitch in his regular turn, but maybe only throw 3-4 innings each time. Here's another base hit. Rios is rounding third. He will come home on the RBI single by Escobar, and it's 3-2.
Alex Rios could still run a little bit, but you know, this ball was hit pretty hard. But watch Nolan Reimold going after this ball. He didn't charge it. It kind of looked like he caught it flat-footed and didn't have any momentum coming toward home. I mean, look how he catches that ball like an infielder, Jess. He didn't charge it, catch it off his glove foot, and take the nice little curl step and fire it home. He caught it more like an infielder, like he was trying to turn too.
He do or dies that. He has a chance at Rios at home. It almost looked like he had given up. When I first saw him go to field it, I'm thinking, oh, he's just going to pick it up, throw to second, keep Escobar from getting a double. But no, he was going home. And sometimes that happens when the grass is cut a certain way. You don't feel comfortable, so you don't want to do or die it, so you keep in front. But
Gordon with a fly ball to center field. Routine for Adam Jones to end the inning. But the Royals get a couple back. Off Chen, down now just by 1 as we go to the bottom of the second here in downtown Baltimore. To the bottom of the second in Baltimore. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And a 3-2 lead for the Orioles over the Royals. Johnny Cueto falls behind 1-0 on Jonathan Schoop, second baseman for the Orioles. And now Schoop hits a high fly ball to deep left center. Second home run of the night for Baltimore, and it's 4-2.
You see the look of disbelief on the face of Johnny Cueto, but you know the belief of the whole thing is when you miss location against this Orioles team. I mean, that's a slider that's supposed to be down and away, even off the plate, to see if Schoop will chase, and it's just center of the plate, spinning and asking to be hit hard. And you know, like I said, whether it's mechanical flaw, injuries, but you know, when you see this is. And everyone goes through it. I don't care how good a player you've been in your career. You go through these phases where you have doubts whether it can be done. You know, right now Johnny Cueto's thinking, I can't pitch anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. And everyone goes through it.
Well, to me, that's the miss right there. Is that last one, Clevenger, is just right over the middle of the plate. And he needs to get right in on that left side of the plates where the slider missed last batter, and now here. Just bigger misses, unusual for him.
Talking to himself out on the mound.
That don't help. I've tried that. You should have heard the things I've called myself.
I can imagine. I was just thinking about that.
Sure, all G-rated.
And a base hit through the left side. That was a pitch 2-3 inches off the plate. Clevenger just went out there and got it.
Well, that's what you can do, especially as a lefty, is if you know that there's a side of the plate that's just not getting hit, then you're able to kind of crowd, look for that side, and be able to even throw your hands and be able to hit it. And what you saw with Schoop is the ability. These guys are sitting. And right here, this, as you mentioned, is the slider going away from him, but it doesn't move. It doesn't break. It sticks middle, and he's able to hit it out.
A strike to J.J. Hardy. Schoop with a home run this inning. Jones with a home run in the first. 4-2 Baltimore over Cueto and the Royals. Cueto has now given up 25 earned runs in his last 21 innings. This is the guy they acquired to be their number one. This is the guy they expect to be their number one. And this is a guy who expects himself to be their number one. But start by start, the concern has to be growing for Kansas City. And he had some good ones when he came to the Royals. First 4, one of them was a shutout. But the last 4, and now this one, the 5th. Very different from what we're used to seeing from Cueto. Right at Kane, 1 down.
What you saw earlier through the lineup first inning is the fact that the changeup, it's all about the off speed for Cueto, for him to be able to set up this pitch. You saw him missing with his changeup early, so all of a sudden Orioles hitters are able to sit fastball, and you saw the results. I mean, they were able to sit hard in the zone. They knew that the off speed pitch was now eliminated, and these are hard hit balls, and when you're able to look fastball and know that anything slower than that's going to be eliminated, you're able to hit and get barrel on the ball in a very good way.
Well, you can eliminate fastball, and you can eliminate a side of the, or eliminate off speed and eliminate a side of the plate. And I don't care how good your stuff is, you're not going to get away with it in this league.
Nolan Reimold, the batter. What do you do, guys, if a pitcher says he's physically fine and everybody says he's mechanically fine, but he keeps missing right over the heart of the plate? And they're not missing. I mean, every now and again you can make some decent pitches and they still get hit hard, and theoretically the luck evens out over time, but hitters are just not missing his mistakes right now. What can the Royals try if Cueto continues to pitch like this?
Exactly what they're doing. Watch film, try to convince him that, you know, of what he was as opposed to what he is right now, these last, 4 starts plus this one. And and just hope that it clicks for him and he gets it before the playoffs start.
Fly ball to Kane, 2 down. Let's go down to Buster.
Guys, that's exactly what Dave Island has been doing with Johnny Cueto. In the last video session they had together, they looked at a split screen. On the left was Cueto in his last start getting hit hard, and on the right was Cueto against the Tigers dominating on August 10th. And Island kept pointing at the guy on the right, the strong outing against Detroit, and saying, look at that guy. Look how much confidence he has. And he talked about how, told Cueto, everybody in baseball was trying to trade for you leading up the trade deadline. You're that guy. Remember, you're that guy.
Breaking ball way down and away for ball 1. Cueto trying to find what it is that makes him that guy and has made him that guy for a number of years. Inside, ball 3. On deck, Chris Davis. Cueto's worked himself back into the heart of the order here in the second. Green light for Machado?
No. Yes.
Johnny Hindsight Crook with the analysis there. Good job. One more run for the Orioles. Another home run. This time it's Jonathan Scope. Cueto frustrated. Was brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And MasterCard. Join MasterCard and stand up to cancer for a priceless cause. Visit priceless.com/causes. Back here at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. The most popular way to follow the action of the September pennant races is with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at Bat. Now, another big game from earlier today as the hunt for October continues between the Astros and the Angels. Mike Trout with a solo home run on the bottom of the first, his 35th of the season. The Angels up 1-0 now. We take you to the top of the ninth. Jed Lowry, a pinch hit 3-run homer off Houston Street, and Houston beats the Angels 5-3. They remain a game and a half ahead of Texas in the American League West. Texas won today, and the Angels try to chase down whoever they can chase down, either in the West or in the wild card race. They lose a game in this race. They're now 4.5 back of the Astros. Here, 4-2 Baltimore over Kansas City. Ben Zobrist leading off the third for the Royals. It takes a pitch over the outside edge. The count now 1-2.
Well, this hasn't been the problem with Wei-Yin Chen getting ahead of hitters. The problem has been trying to put these Royals hitters away. He hasn't been able to do it.
By the way, in that Texas game, they pounded Oakland 12-4 today, and Adrian Beltre hit 2 home runs and drove in 5. Texas is not going away. Leaping catch at first by Chris Davis to Rob Zobrist.
That's what makes Chris Davis a guy that's going to be very well wanted if he does become a free agent at the end of the season. He can play. He's not just a slugger. He's a really good defender. And we saw him pitch, what, last year, 2 years ago in Boston. He was throwing 92, 93 miles an hour. Guy can do it all.
Now Lorenzo Cain hit a fly ball to left field his first time up.
Do you have hops like that?
No.
Okay.
No. I played deep and hope it came down.
You know, you may say that, but there are rumors that you were a terrific basketball player who used to be able to dunk the ball pretty easily.
I did that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
And how tall are you?
5'10".
So 5'10" and you could dunk. You had some hops.
Well, yeah, but that was like 50 years ago.
You had 10-foot rims in West Virginia,
we
right?
did.
You played high school?
Well,
yeah.
According to our measurements.
We should get a 3-on-3 basketball game going.
No. Last time he played, he tore his Achilles.
I break everything I got. So.
I'm taking Dan, man.
No.
You post up.
No.
You know, if he's got the hops and can dunk. I'll be your point guard.
I'm good right here.
The last basketball charity basketball game I played, I had to have my knee operated on the next day. No, I'm good.
You know what? You play, we'll call it.
Yeah.
All by myself.
I'll shave my head and be Vital.
Swing and a miss by Cain. 2 down. We talked about that American League West Division race with Texas and the Angels both trying to chase down Houston. Of course, the wild card is in play as well for a number of teams. The Yankees holding the first wild card spot. Texas in the second spot. Minnesota won again today. They're 6 games over. They're just a game out of a playoff spot. And then the Angels, who lost, and the Indians are still in play as well. How about the Minnesota Twins and the job Paul Molitor has done as the first-year manager of the Twins? That with 20 games left in the season, did anybody think the Minnesota Twins would still be a playoff contender?
No, and adding Miguel Sano, I mean, not that he deserves 100% of the credit by any means, but I think he just infused that team, not only with his power, but just an attitude that they deserve to be there.
Ground ball to third, backhanded by Machado, and plenty of arm to get it there in time to retire Hosmer. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Royals. Johnny Cueto is going to try to right what is wrong, but he'll have to face Chris Davis to open up the bottom of the third. Bottom third in Baltimore. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. The Orioles leading the Royals 4-2. Johnny Cueto's given up 2 home runs already. A 3-run shot to Adam Jones in the first. A solo shot to Jonathan Scope in the second. A big swing and a foul back now by Chris Davis. An 0-2 count on Davis with Jones on deck. Gerardo Parra due up third.
Davis is just such a powerful bat. What he can do within the zone. You see how late now, 2 consecutive swings. He lets that ball travel. That pitch is up and in, but even talking to him pregame, one of the biggest things he's done and why he's able to hit more balls out to left field now is letting that ball travel, which is why Cueto's got to get in on his hands.
And there's a changeup for a swing and a miss. You can see Salvador Perez wanted that pitch down. Cueto got it down, and Davis strikes out.
Well, here's the importance of Salvador Perez in the dealings with Johnny Cueto right now is a little fragile. He wanted that ball up and in on Davis. He got it up and in. Got the foul ball. Now look at this one. I want the change up, but I want it down. I don't care if you bounce it. I'll block it if he swings. He's not getting to first base. Great pitch by Cueto to a guy in Chris Davis who will chase with him once he gets 2 strikes.
What's going on over there, man? What do you got? What just happened here?
Bacon on a stick.
There seems to be a perception around in ballparks around America that you want food, that people should bring you food.
I never asked for it.
That's true. He never asked for it.
This is the best part. I mean, this is what Sunday night's about. Are you serious? Like,
Chef Josh came in and said, I got some food, and I said, send it over to Crucky. He's our food expert, and he said, quote, trust me, I know that.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't hear that. I guess I was salivating.
Yeah, he walked by Dan and I.
Blew right by me.
Yeah, we're not even here. Right here. I had to steal some just to make sure that, you know.
Crucky, take a half inning off. Go to town. We'll keep working over here. That's good.
Kettle chips with crab.
Scallions.
Oh.
This bacon right here, though.
Bacon on a stick.
This right here.
Fat-free, he promised. Fat-free. So now I'm all good.
Fat-free bacon.
I know it's hard to believe, but they're doing magical things with food these days. Look at that. That's a man who knows how to eat a hot dog with some stuff on it.
3-2 to Jones. Popped a mile up in the air, back of the plate. Perez looks like he has room, and he does for out number 2.
I think what's helping Johnny right now is just the fact that you think about Baltimore, they're drooling. They're looking at Johnny Cueto, talking in the dugout. Okay, this is a guy who's leaving pitches over the plate. Let's get even more aggressive. And right now, Johnny is throwing a little bit more out of the zone, and they're chasing. So I think they're helping him out by swinging early, and Cueto's doing a good job of locating this inning.
5 in a row set down by Cueto, still trailing 4-2 in the bottom of the third. And the batter is Gerardo Parra, picked up from Milwaukee, a guy who's we've already seen tonight with a very strong arm. He can play all 3 outfield spots. He runs well. Well, just that was a ball, but that's the pitch you've been talking about, getting the fastball in on the left-handed batter. How important that is for Cueto.
Well, and that's to me, it's everything, because these lefties, if you can know that left part of the plate, then allows you to sit away and hit those pitches.
A much better inning. 3 up, 3 down. End of 3 in Baltimore. Orioles 4, Royals 2. Top of the 4th inning, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Orioles 4, Royals 2. Watching Royals versus Orioles, reply using hashtag #RepMyTeam with a picture of how you're supporting your team, and your tweet could wind up on TV. Kendrys Morales leading off the inning for Kansas City, grounded out his first time up. The guy, remember, was not signed at the beginning of last year, didn't have a contract, eventually got going, played for the Twins and Mariners, didn't hit a whole lot, but he is all the way back, rookie, to the hitter. I don't even want to say that he used to be, but the hitter that he is again. Remember the very serious injury that he suffered a few years back as well. And what a boost he has been for the Kansas City offense. Hits it hard and off Machado into left field for a base hit.
Well, he's a guy that knows how to drive in runs. He has that great knack for hitting the ball the other way in key situations. But leading off an inning, you're looking to drive something. He gets a pitch middle in by Wei-Yin Chen, and see that ball. I mean, that ball hit. It looked like it hit the lip of the grass. Look at where this ball hits, and it just stayed down on Manny Machado and just skipped on him. I don't care how good you are. That ball's hit like a rocket. Once that ball stays down, it's a tough one to come up with.
Now Mike Moustakas takes inside ball 1. Moustakas struck out his first time up.
Can't even find my scorecard with all the food here.
Well, if I know you, you'll give up on the scorecard before you give up on the food.
Without question.
As it stands right now, because Kansas City has the best record in the American League, they would play the wild card game winner in the division series, but still some 3 weeks to go. And as Ned Yost said, they haven't accomplished anything yet. Toronto did lose today, but they're still just 3 games back of Kansas City. Slow roller to the right side, and they're going to turn 2 on this play. Well done by the Orioles.
Chris Davis ranged a long way to get this ball, but this is what you get with Chris Davis. He's very athletic. Look how far he goes for this ball. He's a great thrower of the baseball. Perfect throw to Hardy. But watch the umpire right here. But the first base umpire, great play by Chen. But watch him. Jonathan Scope runs in front. Look, oh, I got to peek around him. Okay, yeah, he got him. He's out. And that's a big man to peek around in Jonathan Scope for one of those little middle infielder guys.
Sam Holbrook, the umpire at first.
Good call, too.
Yep. So a 3-6-1 double play. And now here's Salvador Perez. He swings at the first pitch. 2-hopper to Machado. And in time to first. A quick inning for Wei-Yin Chen. Johnny Cueto's got to go back to work. 4-2 Orioles. Diamondbacks lead the Royals. The best seats at every ballpark for every game. Visit MLB.com/tickets today. Between innings, Buster Olney with the Royals manager Ned Yost.
Ned, what have you seen in Cueto that you didn't see in the first couple innings?
Well, this last inning was better. He needs to establish his fastball and pitch off his fastball. He did it much better that last inning and had a clean 1-2-3 inning. Before, secondary stuff, location wasn't great, and he paid for it.
Tell me about the decision you made to put Alex Gordon at the top, Ben Zobrist in the 2-hole.
Well, Benny, when we got Benny, we figured that he'd be a perfect number 2 hitter. Gordy's had success for us in the past in the 1-hole. Both of them are great on-base percentage guys to get on base for the meat of our order.
Thanks, Ned.
Thank you.
Johnny Cueto back on the mound. Matt Wieters leads it off for the Orioles. Their catcher grounded into a double play his first time up. Hit hard, but into the shift. Zobrist way out in right field to throw out Wieters.
Well, Dan, Johnny Cueto's going to have success. Like Ned Yost said, he has to establish the fastball. And here's how you do it. Chris Davis up and in, get the late swing, the foul off. Well, how are you going to get swings and a changeup out of the zone? You have to throw the fastball in and establish it. Gerardo Parra, same thing, fastball in. Even though it's not a strike, it's still a fastball in off the plate. And then he throws the changeup and he gets the rollover by Parra. If he's going to continue to pitch like that, where he can pound the lefties in and then get him to swing it to changeup away, this whole thing's going to turn around quickly for him.
And I like Perez behind the plate, too, just helping guide him. You see it out the location.
Deep center, carrying, and the third home run of the night for the Orioles. The second in as many at-bats for Jonathan Schoop.
But here's the mistakes that Cueto's been making. He tries to quick pitch Jonathan Schoop. He throws just a spinning breaking ball up there that did nothing but hang up in the strike zone. And Schoop, talked to Buck Showalter how much he loves this kid and his raw ability, but also his raw power. And that ball was just hammered to center field.
Schoop is now 3 for 4 in his career against Cueto. All 3 hits home runs.
Pretty good percentage.
Steve Clevenger, the batter. Orioles on Friday night pounded Kansas City. They won 14-8. They scored 10 runs in the 8th inning. Had 2 grand slams in that inning. One from Nolan Reimold and then one from Clevenger, becoming just the 8th team ever, just the 8th time ever that a team has hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
Yeah, I was listening to Clevenger after the game, and he said he didn't realize that was the 2nd grand slam of the inning.
Isn't that funny?
He thought Reimold hit his inning before. It was such a long inning.
A pop-up off the bat of Clevenger for the 2nd out. The last time that a team hit 2 grand slams in an inning was the Mets back in 2006. A couple of crazy games already in this series. Baltimore beat Kansas City 14-8 on Friday. Kansas City beat Baltimore 14-6 yesterday. Moustakas drove in 9. And it is 5-2 here in the 4th inning tonight. The Orioles have hit 3 home runs off Cueto. There's J.J. Hardy. Hardy, a fly ball to center his first time up. It seems like, maybe it's my imagination, guys, but it seems like, remember we saw some shoulder shimmying and so forth, and that's gone now. And they did it in the first inning. I don't think he's done it since.
When you hit one 500 feet to dead center, sometimes the shimmy takes a little break.
He's still quick pitching sometimes, but other than that, he seems to have kind of simplified his delivery.
I think intrigue until he gets back to his old self. It's not a bad idea. This is a guy that throw 5, 6 different pitches. And I think if he just sticks with 2 or 3, sticks to one windup for now, gets back into that rhythm, then he can start mixing it up, do the shimmy shake.
Down to third, right at Moustakas. And the inning is over, but another run allowed, another home run allowed. The third that he's given up tonight, the second off the bat of Scope. The frustration continues for Johnny Cueto. For the 5th inning on Sunday Night Baseball, the Orioles lead the Royals 5-2. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device, visit MLB.TV for details. 8-9-1 coming up for the Royals. Rios, Escobar, and Gordon against Wei-Yin Chen. A 5-2 lead for Baltimore. Johnny Cueto's struggles continue. He's given up 5 runs. He's given up 3 home runs through 4 innings tonight.
And if you're Wei-Yin Chen, you have to remember this is the part of the lineup, 8-9. Rios with the double to drive in a run. Escobar with the 2-out single to drive in a run. These are the guys that did the damage against him. See if he can try to limit this.
Perez and Cueto trying to work on their game plan in the dugout, trying to figure out what's going on. Big breaking ball down and in, 2-2. And a ground ball to short. Should be routine for Hardy. 1 down. Between innings, Buster Olney with Orioles manager Buck Showalter.
Buck, you guys have been hitting the ball hard against Johnny Cueto. What do you feel like your hitters are doing well?
Oh, we're making good use of the mistakes he's making, just like they have against our guys. They're one of the better hitter teams in baseball. That's why they have the best record in the American League. But it's fun for the fans. Not real easy on managers sometimes and broadcasters.
What kind of future do you see for Jonathan Scope?
Oh, John, I don't want to jinx him. John's as good a person as he is a potential player, and that's all I'll say about him. He's a good kid. His mom and dad done a great job with him, and he's very humble, appreciates everything, and I feel confident that he'll be as good as he's capable of being, and that makes everybody feel good.
Is the kind of power we saw tonight typical?
Most of the time. He's a strong young man. He's kind of growing in his body. You know how that fawn comes out and trying to get his legs underneath him? John's finally got his legs underneath him. Came back from a really tough injury. A lot of guys don't come by earlier in the year. Our rehab guys did a great job with him, and he's back healthy now, and a really good defender. So on both sides of the ball, he's got a chance to be pretty good. He's a college senior,
Buck, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Buck.
That's what Buck Showalter was saying before the game, that Jonathan Schoop, Manny Machado, they're both 23 years of age, and here they are. Machado's already an established player in the major leagues. Schoop establishing himself as a guy with a lot of upside. It was a knee injury, a 60-day DL situation for Schoop earlier in the season, and he's now got 14 home runs on the season in 242 at-bats. That's pretty good pop.
And Dan, it was his right knee that he sprained earlier in the year, and that's your backside. That's your power. And when Buck talks about him growing into his legs, I mean, that's something we've seen him develop even through that injury with his backside.
A little flare into right field, caught by Parra. Escobar retired, 2 down.
And the thing too, you have to remember about this Orioles defense, and it should be intact as far as everyone, but possibly Chris Davis playing first base. They all started as shortstops, and to be able to move guys. Okay, Machado's going to grow because he's so young. We're going to throw him at third base because of his great arm. Jonathan Schoop has one of the best arms of any second baseman in baseball. An unbelievable cannon, and J.J. Hardy's been as steady as any shortstop in baseball since he first came up to the big league. So you're very athletic in your infield, and even though their pitching has struggled, think about how much worse this pitching could have been if not for this great defense.
There's Schoop making a play to end the inning as Gordon is retired. A quick 3-up, 3-down inning for Chin. Speaking of Machado, due up second. Chris Davis due up third. Johnny Cueto trying to figure it out for Kansas City. Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. Downtown Baltimore, the Inner Harbor. So much work done on this area over the last 20 years or so. And this ballpark, we were talking about it before the game. This is the ballpark that kind of changed the way we look at ballparks. This was opened, I believe, in '92. And, once everybody saw Camden Yards, everybody else who was planning a new ballpark said, well, I want one of those. I want one of those retro ballparks, not a stadium. And then you had ballparks in Arlington and in Denver and in San Diego. So many ballparks have been built since then, and they're all great. But I think this one kind of changed the way that we look at baseball stadiums or ballparks. It's a great one.
It's changed the financial landscape of baseball too, with all these new ballparks. Remember in the '70s, all the cookie cutter, Philly, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, all those turf fields, and
football teams sharing them.
That was the way to go back then for the durability of the fields and no rainouts, and And then when Camden Yards built this one, it just, everyone thought, you know, wait a second, it's a pretty good idea. Have something state of the art, beautiful grass that players want to play on.
I've never been here, and I remember seeing Camden Yards on TV, and I've told myself it was a bucket list item just because of how beautiful it looked, and that's without even being here live.
It's great, even if you're outside the ballpark, you just walk around and say, man, this looks like a great ballpark. I got to get inside and see what this one is like.
You see what it can do. Not only
you can work out and watch the game. That's cool.
Yeah, that was my first thought. But
dropping into right, a base hit. Reimold aboard to begin the inning. Let's go down to Buster.
Yeah, and the other day I was talking with Jana Marie Smith, who was one of the people involved in the planning for Camden Yards, and she told me this story about how former Orioles president Larry Lucchino, who was so important in the development of Camden Yards, that through the process he forbid everyone in the office to use the word stadium. He wanted them to only talk about ballparks, and he also talked about no concrete. You guys look up at the outside of this park, you can see the skeleton, the girders. That's the old ballpark field that Lucchino was looking for.
Well, whatever they were looking for, they captured it. They did it right here. A strike taken by Manny Machado. 5-2, Baltimore leads Kansas City, bottom of the fifth. Jonathan Scope's got 2 home runs. A couple of solo shots. Adam Jones, a 3-run homer. All of that damage coming off Cueto. And now a double play ball. There's one, and on to first in plenty of time to turn the 4-6-3 double play. Let's take a look now at tonight's home team advantage, brought to you by Quicken Loans. And we talked about the kind of year that Chris Davis is having. 41 home runs on the season. A monster power year for a guy who just 2 years ago hit 53 homers. Dropped off to 26 last year. As you look at the all-time single-season home run leaders for the Orioles, Chris Davis first and 6th on that list. And heading into free agency. Did he get number 42? He did. Fourth home run of the night off Cueto.
You see the location, this pitch, not a bad one. It leaks a little bit away, but this is where Chris Davis loves it. He does a good job of timing this ball well, seeing it deep, but watch his hands drop. See his hands get into that home run hitting position. He gets it right to the level of the ball, and then you see that upward lift that he has nailed so well with his swing. He hits a lot of fly balls because of it. He got a lot of strikeouts, but 42 home runs, and that's as pretty as it gets.
It's easy power, too. It's not an overswing. You rarely see him swing hard, fall over the plate.
Adam Jones, who's already homered in this game, lifts one high and deep to left, but caught on the track to end the inning. Johnny Cueto just can't figure out what's going on. He's given up 4 homers, including the 42nd of the season for Chris Davis. And at the end of 5, the Orioles lead 6-2. one, but 2 NFL games. A double dose of Monday Night Football, beginning with the Eagles and the Falcons, 6:55 Eastern Time, then the Vikings and the 49ers at 10:15 Eastern Time. Monday Night Football tomorrow on ESPN. Chris Davis launching his 42nd home run of the season in the bottom of the 5th. Got a changeup that stayed up over the outside corner, hit it out to right center. 4th home run given up tonight by Cueto, who's now looking up to the heavens and saying, what is going on? What can I change? He has never endured, and I know we talked about this a lot, but for people who may not have been with us the entire night, he has never endured a stretch like this in his major league career. Nothing close to this. As Ben Zobrist lifting a fly ball to right center field. Jones back. Jones has it on the track. 27 earned runs in his last 25 innings. 8 home runs allowed in his last 25 innings. And Jess Crucky, this is the guy the Royals want to be their #1 starter. That's why they got him. That's what he's always been. If this continues, can they put him on the mound for a game 1 of the playoffs?
No. I mean, and the biggest reason is when you're missing up in the zone, when those balls are it's not that he's given up hits, it's that they're big hits, and whoever he's going to face, I mean, it's not just you walk someone, one person gets on, now all of a sudden you're giving up 2, 3 runs on 1 hit because of 1 missed pitch up in the zone.
See him there talking to Yordano Ventura, one of the talented young starters for Kansas City. With James Shields leaving, Ventura kind of by default inherited the mantle of the ace at the beginning of the season, but Ventura had a very rough beginning to the season. Great stuff, but he's had an up and down year. Cueto's the guy who's supposed to be the #1, but if they don't start him in a game 1, is it Ventura? Is it Edinson Volquez? And can they win a World Series with the rotation they have? They've got great defense. They've got a better offense than people give them credit for. They've got a really deep, strong bullpen. This is their current rotation right now. Crucky, if you're Ned Yost in game 1's tomorrow, who's getting the ball?
I have no idea, and I don't think Ned Yost does, and that's why they still have another few weeks to try to figure this out, 2 or 3 weeks to figure this out. But here could be a bigger issue. Lorenzo Cain just really just waffled one off his leg.
I
think it missed the shin guard. But Dan, they have a lead in the division. The division is pretty much sewed up, but they want to get this. Look where this ball hits him. Yeah, right above it. But they want to get the home field advantage. That way they have the best record, have home field advantage throughout the postseason, and since the American League won the All-Star game, of course, in the World Series too, if they get that far. But you have to remember last year they went 1 out away from winning a World Championship, and they didn't have great starting pitching last year. James Shields wasn't good in the postseason, so
yeah, their business model is a little bit different. If the starter can give them a good 5 or 6, then they'll take their chances with their great bullpen. Left center, and Reimold is there, 2 down.
Guys, 2 things to remember about Cueto. One, and I've covered players who've gone from one team to another in a trade to an accomplished team. That can't be easy for Cueto to walk into that clubhouse knowing that group of players has accomplished a lot and has high expectation. He's not performing well. And the other thing, you wonder if it's weighing on him. He had so much money riding on free agency in the fall, and he still does.
I can't, it must be tough to walk in there and have, 24 other guys in there looking at you who just got done playing in the World Series the previous year, 1 out, 1 out away from possibly winning the World Championship, and they're looking at him as you're our savior. You're our #1. You're our guy that's going to lead us, get us over that and to become world champions. You're that guy.
If he is that guy, the game 1 starter, he's looking at a David Price or a Dallas Keuchel, or really good starters on some of the other American League contenders.
Cole Hamels, Garrett Richards. If the Angels get, there's so many. Tanaka, the way he pitched today. It's but again, you're not asking him to give you 8 strong innings and then turn it over to the closer. That's just not the way the Royals do things.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing is in his struggles now, the last 4 and including this, it started in the beginning, in the first inning. And I think that's where it then can affect the flip side. It can affect your offense. It can affect the whole demeanor of your team if you're behind from the get-go.
And you can see in the way he's been talking to himself, the look up to the skies he came off last inning. He's saying to himself, what can I do? What am I doing wrong? It's a tough stretch that he's in right now. He's heading back out to the mound to face Paro, Wieters, and Schoop. From Baltimore, and it's been another struggle for Johnny Cueto. 5th consecutive start, he struggled, and in this one, he's given up not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 home runs to the Baltimore Orioles. And he's baffled. He is trying to figure out what the problem is. Gerardo Parra lifts a fly ball to left field, but there is room for Alex Gordon, 1 down. Tough park to pitch in when you're a fly ball pitcher, not to let Cueto off the hook or anything like that. He is not pitching well. The pitches he's made that have gone out of the park have been mistakes. And none of these are cheapies.
No, they're out of any park. I don't think anyone has power alleys besides maybe in San Francisco and right center that's over 400 feet. But Chris Davis hit at 394, so that's out everywhere. Yeah, they're not staying in any ballpark. And they say solo homers. Solo homers can't beat you. We hit 3 of them, they can.
1 3-run shot, 3 solo homers, accounting for all the offense tonight for Baltimore. Matt Wieters has grounded out twice. On deck, Jonathan Schoop, who's got 2 home runs in the game. And 3 in 4 career at bats against Cueto.
I think one of the things that Cueto can look at too is he's not getting beat on his best stuff. I think that's a lot of times when your confidence is shook, and you know that as a hitter. I mean, if you have a great swing and you miss consistently, you are looking at the sky going, what the heck is wrong? And right now for Cueto, it's
it's fixable stuff. I mean, it's stuff that he knows that he has better. It's not that his best pitches are getting hit. It's that he's hanging pitches over the zone.
Down and away with a changeup, a full count on Wieters.
I think this is also a great teaching lessons to to coaches who coach young kids. When you can see a guy of the stature of Johnny Cueto in the big leagues struggle right now with his confidence, don't expect a 10-year-old to be that overconfident kid every time he goes out and plays.
Grounded foul. The joy that you see on the face of Johnny Cueto when he's pitching, because he is an expressive guy and he often looks like he's having fun. Haven't seen a whole lot of that during this recent stretch, and you can understand why. Got him. 2 down. Time now for our high strength performance, brought to you by Chevy Silverado. And that performance tonight belongs to Jonathan Schoop, who not once but twice has taken Johnny Cueto deep in this game. That's some big time power right there.
A little middle infielder.
Schoop is listed at 6'1", 195.
Huh.
I was driving around yesterday listening to John Schaub, Chris Singleton do the game yesterday on ESPN Radio, and they were talking about Schoop, saying they think he's more like 6'2", 230 rather than 6'1", 195. He's got his 3rd hit of the night.
Well, you look at the back of some of my baseball cards, it says 5'10", 190.
High school?
2nd grade. But this is a guy who has some ownership over a pitcher, though. Jonathan Schoop. I mean, this is, first at bat home run, second at bat home run, and this is another just tracer that he hits line drive to right center field. And that's a guy who's not afraid of getting pitched inside and thinking someone has the stuff to get it by.
Now Clevenger takes Gordon back a ways, but he'll make the catch, and the inning is over. A man left on. He's still trying to figure it out, but no damage done this inning. Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Cars.com. Now Cars.com helps you get the right service without all the drama. And the Lincoln Motor Company and the 2015 Lincoln MKC. Back at Camden Yards in Baltimore with John Kruk, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. The Orioles have hit 4 homers off Johnny Cueto, lead Kansas City 6-2, going top 7. As meanwhile, quietly, Wei-Yin Chen is putting together a very nice night. Gave up 2 runs back in the second. Has only given up 1 hit since then. Has faced the minimum since then, as he faces Morales, Moustakas, and Perez here in the 7th. Another pending free agent, right? Chris Davis, Matt Wieters, Wei-Yin Chen, Darren O'Day, some key players.
Steve Pearce. They got a bunch of guys that might not be here next year.
I think a lot of folks who follow the Orioles, a lot of Orioles fans are wondering, will the organization spend the money to keep some of these guys?
Well, I really think that's why they went after Andrew Miller last year, because I think that they thought last year was their chance. I think they thought that this year was they had a chance also to be, get into the postseason. But you can't just keep losing people and expect to keep contending.
Diving stop, Machado. Got him. What a play.
One of the things that Manny Machado does so well is he gets his feet into a great position. He dives for this ball, comes right up and throws a strike to first base. He just has a great understanding, Buck Showalter telling us pregame, of understanding the timing of this play. It's not even just the range, but the fact that he knows how to time it, get to his feet, and then the arm strength going away from first base. Throwing it the way he does. It's just a fun player to watch.
And understanding that Kendrys Morales is running, he didn't have to try to pop up quick and make an off-balance throw. He popped up to his feet. He got his feet set, like you said, Jess. But that's knowing who's running, knowing that Buck Showalter's big on the internal clock, and he said that they actually have a water polo clock that they bring when they take infield in spring training, and they put an average speed, an average time to first base, and he has all the infielders try to stick to that clock.
Moustakas will test Machado again. 2 down.
Well, what Wei-Yin Chen's done a good job of, we talk about fastball location and what he's been able to do with all of his pitches, and you see him get up in the zone. Listen to the bat sound too. These are misses because of where he's able to locate the pitch in and away. Now, because he's locating on the zone, now he can kind of work away. And again, these pitches are tough to hit. Really knowing exactly where to locate it, and then just a little bit off to be able to get the swing.
2 down in the inning. Here's Salvador Perez, 25-year-old catcher for the Royals, who has quickly developed into one of the best in baseball at his position. Eddie O's talking about him before the game. When asked what he likes the most about him, said his energy, his enthusiasm. He wants to play every day, and he kind of lifts the spirits of the guys around him if they need it, although it's a pretty lively clubhouse. Well, this is a guy who brings a lot of energy to the ballpark every day.
Spoke to him pregame too about Cueto and kind of his approach, being behind the plate. He said, right now, I just need to get him feeling comfortable. And he isn't calling timeout a whole lot. Usually he does. He wants to go out there, kind of calm pitchers down, communicate. You're not seeing that as much with Cueto because he's still trying to feel him out. They're still trying to work out their own relationship.
To left center field. Jones won't get it. Cuts it off on the edge of the track. Perez on his way to second. And in there with his second double of the night. A look at the MLB calendar Tuesday night. Major League Baseball action presented by Mobile One. The Astros and Rangers involved in a tight race in the American League West. Wednesday night baseball presented by Mobile One, celebrating the memory and commemorating the impact of Roberto Clemente as the Cubs take on the Pirates in 1 week from tonight. It is expected that Matt Harvey will be on the mound for the Mets as the Mets take on the Yankees. He's being skipped once, but the report out of New York is, as of Sunday, he will take his regular turn, but guys, he will make so-called half starts. Maybe that means 50 to 60 pitches, 3 to 4 innings, but stay on turn to keep the innings down and I guess increase the chance of him being able to pitch in the playoffs. So what do you think of the whole situation?
Well, I like that part of it, that he's going to stay on his regular turn, give him, 60 pitches, Dan. And the great thing is about that is now it's September call-up time, so they have additional pitchers in their bullpen, so it's not going to put a big stress on your bullpen by doing that this late in the season. But, again, this is Matt Harvey. This is up to him. And it has to be what he wants to do. If he says, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good, let's go, then you throw him out there and let him go. I'm sure there's some veteran players on that team. David Wright, Bartolo Colon, guys that have been around a long time, Curtis Granderson, who are, basically saying, look, we need you. And, I understand the future. I understand, you're young, but, we need you. If we're going to win, if we're going to get deep in the postseason, you have to be one of those guys along with DeGrom, Syndergaard, and others who have to lead us there. And I just hope he gets there, and I hope he does it.
Runner at second, 2 down. Alex Rios is the batter.
Well, I think the biggest thing isn't so much right now as it is the postseason. I mean, they have that cushion, but this is a guy that they are going to need in October to make a run that they haven't made in a very long time. And just like we're talking about the Royals relying on Cueto as their ace, Harvey is the guy for the Mets. Now, of course, they have DeGrom, Syndergaard. They have guys behind them, but at the same time, Harvey is someone that, if he's limited in the postseason, that's when a lot of the blame's going to be on him.
And you see what happened with the Washington Nationals. It's as much as you think, yeah, we're a good team, we'll do this again, there's no guarantees in this sport that you're going to go back to where you want to be. And again, I personally, I don't know how you can walk in the clubhouse. You've battled all year to get to a position to get your team in the postseason, and walk in and say, yeah, you know what, I'm not hurt, but I'm done. I'm going to shut it down because of the innings thing. I just don't know how you can do that.
The Mets seemed blindsided by the whole thing. It comes out at the end of August instead of in February, and it's Scott Boras saying it, not Matt Harvey, and then Harvey's surrounded by microphones and he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And it takes 24 hours to figure out what he wants to say. And strange situation on a number of levels.
It put him in a bad place. It put Matt Harvey in a really bad place. But the great thing is it's a small market that he plays in New York, so no one really took the story and ran with it. But it put him in a difficult situation to have to make a decision on the spot of, okay, are you going to pitch or are you not?
Full count pitch to Rios. A swing and a soft liner to center. Charging is Jones. 7th inning stretch and 7 strong for Wei-Yin Chen as the Orioles continue to lead. Wei-Yin Chen of the Baltimore Orioles trying to take 2 out of 3 from Kansas City, and they have brought out the power tonight. They have hit 4 home runs in this game, all of them off Johnny Cueto, with 6-2 Baltimore going to the bottom of the 7th. Let's take a look around the American League playoff pictures, some of the events from earlier today. A big win for the Yankees. Masahiro Tanaka was terrific. The Yankees salvaged the final game of the 4-game series, avoid getting swept at the hands of Toronto. Kyle Gibson gets the win. The Twins blank the White Sox. They're right in the hunt. Texas pounds Oakland behind a big day from Adrian Beltre, and Houston rallies late to beat the Angels. So the division leaders remain Toronto, Kansas City, and Houston. New York in possession of the first wild card spot. Texas in the hunt in the second wild card spot, trying to chase down the Astros in the West, just a game and a half back, and Minnesota right there. And don't forget about the Angels and the Indians in the wild card race as well. Kansas City, by the way, they go to Cleveland after this game tonight for a 4-game series. Then they go to Detroit for a 3-game series. So they've still got a week on the road. They head back home for Seattle and Cleveland, then finish up on the road at Chicago, the White Sox, and at Minnesota.
Yeah, so much for that strength of schedule thing that people like to talk about. Didn't the Cardinals just get swept by the Reds? How's that strength of schedule working? Didn't the Brewers win two out of 4, I think, against the Pirates?
They've classically just owned the Pirates. It's unbelievable, especially in Milwaukee. But it's matchups. You can't just look at record. I think there's just certain times a year and certain times where 2 teams go head to head and they have the other one's number.
Here's a good matchup. 2 guys without a lot of confidence. Johnny Cueto and J.J. Hardy. Hardy struggling offensively, even dropped to the 9 spot. Cueto, we documented his confidence struggles. Can end well for one of them.
Cueto now has thrown 99 pitches. There's no activity in the Kansas City pen. If you're just tuning in saying, how's a guy giving up 6 runs and he's still in the ball game? Gave up a 3-run homer in the first, solo homers in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th.
Well, if there was any concerns about his health, he would have been pulled a lot sooner.
Out of play.
Ned Yost told us a story about how during the course of his last start, they were wondering too, is he okay? And pitching coach Dave Island asked him. He said he was fine. The trainers checked on him, and when the game was over, when Ned Yost went back to his office, Johnny Cueto was waiting in his office to tell him, "I'm fine."
Into right center field. Extra bases for Hardy. A leadoff double. And now they're starting to scramble out in the bullpen.
And this is what we've talked about with Johnny Cueto, and it's just pitches up in the zone, missing location, and when you're throwing 97 up in the zone, you can get away with it. But that's, and again, it's a struggling hitter, and J.J. Hardy, you don't want to walk him. 3-2 pitch, but I mean, this just covers way too much of the plate, and I don't care how bad you're struggling. That's a very hittable pitch. Yeah, he's heard that sound a few times, that crisp off the barrel, and you don't feel it off your hands when you're hitting it.
Activity now with the Royals pen. The Orioles looking to add on.
Pitchers love that sound.
Look at Chen on the flip side when we showed him and the miss hits and the sound, how different it is when it's off the end versus on the hands.
Lewis Coleman up in the Kansas City pen has spent most of the year down at AAA. September call-up, has been with the Royals in years past. Count now 0-2 on Reimold, who's got a base hit in 3 trips tonight. Kansas City has lost 6 of 8. If they lose this one, their lead over Toronto for the best record in the American League will be 2.5. There's a line over to left field, a base hit. Being held at third is Hardy.
And that to me, Ned Yost looks like he's going to get up and get him and bring Coleman in. But that's the risk you had. Like last inning, he gave up the single to Scope, but he got out of the inning unscathed. Now you send him back out for 7th inning. He's over 100 pitches now, and the first 2 hitters have just hit rockets off of him, and now you're getting to the meat of the order, and you thought, okay, maybe he can leave the game on a good note. Okay, my last inning, was pretty good. Feeling good about myself, a little better about myself, and now, depending on what Machado and Davis do coming up here, and Adam Jones, now this could turn into, wow, I have no idea what I'm doing out here.
Manny Machado 0 for 2 with a walk. Infield is in for Kansas City. Check swing, and it's inside, ball 1. Machado 28 homers, 71 RBIs on the season. Great stop at third, Moustakas, and dropped at second by Zobrist.
Ball, a great play though by Mike Moustakas, and I don't know if they could have turned a double play right here. Machado still runs pretty good even though the knee injuries. That's a play right there where Ben Zobrist has to make sure you get one and help your pitcher out, and maybe get Davis on a rollover and a double play and only come out of here with 1 run now. The way Cueto's locating the ball, the way Davis is swinging, this inning could get away from him real quick.
Should be fielder's choice RBI and E4 on Zobrist, allowing Reimold to reach second base safely, and that's what it is, as Chris Davis comes up now. 7-2. Davis 2 for 3, including a home run, his 42nd, and his 23rd since the All-Star break. That's in 50 games. He's got 23 home runs in his last 50 games.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. And he's got the major league lead.
I think what's amazing, Nelson Cruz with 41 home runs in that ball, half his games in that ballpark.
Yeah. Orioles missing that bat this year.
You would want him, Jones, Davis, Machado, and Nelson Cruz back to back to back to back. It'd be too easy to pitch to him.
Cueto got to be nearing the end of the line here tonight. 2-2.
But again, that's an 88-mile-an-hour changeup or something off speed that just has no bite to it, has no location to it. It was still up too high. Basically the same pitch that Davis hit out the last at bat. This is one of these situations where Ned Yost and Dave Island, the pitching coach, are just saying, we got to leave him out there and hope he figures something out. But I don't know.
He's running out of pitches.
He's running out of a lot of things.
Oh. Davis would want that one again.
Yeah.
And it's up. I mean, not only is it over the plate, but it's in that home run zone that we've seen get hit out 4 times already this game. That's right where you want it as a hitter. Sometimes you get over anxious like Davis did, and he just flew out.
Davis can't believe it as Cueto gets the call, and Ned Yost is already out of the dugout.
Well, maybe they were waiting for one good thing this inning to turn it around for him, and getting a strikeout of Chris Davis might be it.
And there's the call to the bullpen. 6 1/3 Rocky innings for Johnny Cueto. 7-2 Baltimore. Bottom 7. Cueto out, Coleman on his way in. Cueto, as he gives up 7 runs tonight. 7-2. The Royals trail. Better than an earned run allowed per inning over a 5-start stretch. He has never gone through a stretch like this in his major league career. Guys, what went wrong here tonight?
And flat out just missing. And for him to miss, first of all, over the plate, and that's where you saw the hardest hit pitches, and not just middle but up in the zone where his balls were getting crushed, and then off the plate. Now these are misses that don't have a lot of anything that's going to tease that batter to even want to swing. They're just big misses, either over the plate or way off to where no one's going to swing.
And even, you know, you understand why Ned Yost went and got him after he strikes a guy out, just to give him something positive to take off the field of basically a whole night that's been a negative night for Johnny Cueto. But, you know, even that pitch was off the plate that he kind of got a good call on. And, you know, if that's the case, now you got the bases loaded, no outs, and he's out of the game, and you got to be thinking, wow, this is ugly. At least he has something he can look back on and say, okay, at least the last guy did strike out.
Lewis Coleman into the game for Kansas City. Sweeping slider swung on and missed by Adam Jones. Coleman, a September call-up, has spent his entire professional career with the Royals, has spent at least part of each of the last 5 seasons with Kansas City. He's bounced back and forth between Omaha and Kansas City every year.
First pitch, how many times do you think he's seen this guy pitch? First pitch, he throws a slider about 8 feet outside and he swings.
Two on with the 1 out, and the 1-1 to Jones. Swung on and line fair into the left field corner. Reimold is jogging home. Machado will be held at third on an RBI double as Machado gets back. RBI double by Jones, who's having a big night, and it's 8-2.
After Jones had swung at the slider and missed earlier in the bat, he takes a pitch inside, and you see where his hands get to on this pitch, able to drive it down the line. And a guy that he hasn't seen before, and is able to really sit back, let this ball travel, rope it in for a double.
Royals are having some fun swinging the bats tonight. 8 runs on 12 hits, 4 homers. Infield in for the Royals. Parra is the batter. Lines it to short. Runners get back. 2 down. Let's go down to Buster.
Yeah, that was an interesting play that just happened there, guys. You saw Manny Machado come hard around third base, and Bobby Dickerson, the third base coach, holds him up, and Machado has to scramble back. And after that play, Dickerson walked over to him, talking to him like, "What were you doing? What are you thinking?" And they had a good laugh.
Here's Wieters. 0 for 3.
Well, and that's the thing with Machado. The concern is his knees. We know he's had some issues with his knees. Devastating knee injury a couple years ago in Tampa. Hurt his knee again last year. But, you know, when he was coming close to third base, you know, the third base coach Dickerson, he had his hands up in plenty of time for him to stop on third base. But Machado was looking at the ball because it was in front of him. I mean, watch Machado right here. He's looking at the left fielder. He's looking at Gordon. He's looking at Gordon. Dickerson already has the stop sign up, and then he's looking at the base. He never picks up Dickerson. Then he glances back again at Gordon to see if Gordon came up with the ball cleanly. And, you know, that whole thing could have been kind of shut down if he would have. Watch Dickerson. Look at him. He had him way in time to get him to stop on the base, but Machado wasn't paying attention to him. And normally, Dan, that's a good thing because the ball's in front of you. You want to use your own instincts.
Yep.
But with a guy with knee problems like he has, and the score of the game of what it is, 8-2, last thing you want to do is to risk, you know, 1, a collision at home plate, but 2, you know, that situation where he has to stop on a dime and try to get back to the base.
3-1 the count on Wieters. Inside ball 4. The bases are loaded for Scope, who's got 2 home runs tonight. Machado at third, Jones at second, Wieters at first.
If Adam Jones and Salvador Perez played on the same team at some point, no one, the other 23 guys would never get a chance to talk.
They've been talking to each other all weekend.
Yeah, but he's talking to Escobar. I mean, whoever's around him, he's going to talk to.
Coleman fighting his command right now. Jeremy Guthrie is up in the pen for the Royals.
I think about the 2 shots that Scope hit out middle in. He pulled him to left, almost identical swings, and then his last hit took a pitch away. So figuring out what zone to attack Scope. Try to go away. Looked like exactly what 2-0 Scope was sitting on.
23 years of age from Curaçao, 14 home runs on the season with the 2 he's hit tonight. Bases loaded, 2 down, 2 runs in already this inning for Baltimore. Slider swung on and missed, 2-2.
You're looking fastball away and you get the slider, perfect location, moves low and away from the bat of Scope. He sees that as a fastball, doesn't realize what it is until later.
Yeah, it looked like something grabbed him. Like, I don't know if it's his elbow or what, but I mean, it looked really funky after he delivered that pitch.
And they're going to make a change. Guthrie looking on for the bullpen. So Coleman out of the game. And Guthrie will be coming in for the bullpen. Will step aside. He'll pick up a 2-2 count with 2 outs and the bases loaded. The Orioles already in command. Guthrie on a warming up for the injured Lewis Coleman with the bases loaded, 2 down and a 2-2 count. Speaking of injuries, there was one that figures into the playoff situation. Troy Tulowitzki backing into, or Kevin Pillar running into Troy Tulowitzki, and Tulowitzki suffering a small fracture in his left shoulder blade. The Blue Jays say the best case scenario is he could be back in 2 to 3 weeks, which would have him back for the playoffs. But Buster, there seems to be really a lot of unknown about the severity of this injury and how long Tulowitzki may be out.
That's exactly right, Dan. How he responds to treatment over the next few days will tell a lot to the Blue Jays doctors, from what I'm told. And at that point, they'll have a better idea. But that is the best case scenario, that he would be available to play at the end of the regular season. But even then, he probably would have to play through some discomfort.
So the idea for the Blue Jays, when they got Tulowitzki, he was obviously going to be the shortstop. Cruggy Devin Travis, who might have been up there for Rookie of the Year, and he stayed healthy this year, but he's been out for a long time. He was the second baseman. Right now it's Ryan Goins at short and Cliff Pennington at second. Both have played very, very well, but that deep Blue Jays lineup's not quite as deep without Troy Tulowitzki.
No, it's not quite as deep, but it's still pretty formidable.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just a different dynamic now. Goins is going to be a guy who gets on base and runs, and you know, Tulowitzki was a guy that stood on his back leg and tried to hit it out of the ballpark. And
there's a one-pitch end of the inning for Jeremy Guthrie.
MVP so far.
Comes on with a 2-2 count, 2 outs, and strikes out Scope. Inning over. Ball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell's new $1 Daredevil Loaded Grillers. Try all 3 if you dare. And in part by Chevrolet, find new roads. And Goodyear, tires with a strong tradition of superior performance. Johnny Cueto just couldn't find the answers tonight. No matter where he looked, gave up 4 homers, gave up 8 runs, 7 earned in 6 1/3. It's 8-2 Baltimore. Top of the 8th inning. Buck Showalter goes to his bullpen for another free agent to be, and a guy who's been awfully good for the Orioles out of the pen for a number of years now. Darren O'Day, the side armor who's no day at the beach for right-handed batters and not much easier for lefties. Here are his ERAs. You can see 166 this year, 170 last year, 218 the year before that, 228 the year before that. This is a guy the Orioles really want to see if they can keep, if at all possible.
And I think he's a guy that gets overlooked. I mean, in the free agency market, at least. I mean, when you think about Chris Davis and Wieters and Parra and Chen and all the names that are going to be up for free agency, this is a guy that I would highlight only because he has that deception, and I think it's been incredibly effective. the way he's able to go as a side armor, but also, you know, he tops out maybe upper 80s, maybe low 90s, but it's very deceptive to a lot of these hitters, and his off speed will come and get him when they least expect it.
And he makes quick work of Escobar.
You see, because of the angle and where this pitch is going, for righties especially, when look at that break and the way this pitch is able to move away, and this is about 11 miles an hour lower, but look at where it comes from, how he's really able to angle his body, and because of that, the pitch is going to look a lot faster than it is, and then when they're looking fast, he throws in a 78-mile-per-hour pitch off speed to get the K.
Another reason why they'll probably try to re-sign O'Day is because, let's face it, guys, he might be one of the few guys that they're going to be looking at who they feel like they can afford. Chris Davis might get $100 million plus. Matt Wieder's going to be expensive. And the backbone of the Orioles in recent seasons, the bullpen.
Alex Gordon hooks one to right field, but Parra's there to make the catch. 2 down.
Wait, is this for ESPN? Whoa.
Follow your favorite team and players all season with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat now. 2 down here in the top of the 8th inning. Ben Zobrist 1 for 3.
Another one of the things that Zobrist can bring is talk about the deception that O'Day has against these righties, and the fact that Zobrist can now switch over to the left side. Pretty consistent from both, batting .288, and this is where his power is on the left. 12 home runs.
Tucks that chin right into his right shoulder.
Looks uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Coco Crisp has a little of that too, right? Maybe even a little more pronounced than Zobrist does.
Ed Griffey Jr. used to do that.
What are they trying to tell themselves, guys?
I have no idea.
I used to have hitting coaches that say to do that just to remind yourself to keep that front side in. Just as an extra little hitch that you could do. Who knows?
Crockett, were you a see it, hit it kind of guy?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't need reminders to tell me. You know, I just never came to my mind to think, you know, well, oh, if I tuck my chin in, maybe it'll remind me of something. It'll remind me it looks uncomfortable. I know that. It just looks like it locks you up, like it locks up your upper body. Wow.
Zobrist doesn't like that call on the appeal down to third, and it's 2-2. And he doesn't ask for timeout.
Well,
he just called the timeout.
Well, and Zobrist is a guy that doesn't complain about anything, but
It's as close as it's going to get.
That's not a gimme. That's not a gimme that he didn't go.
He makes contact. That might have been a double in the gap.
Hey, look at that. That just, one, I couldn't do that. I don't have a neck, so that leaves that out. But
I think it'd be easier then.
well, I can't turn my head that far. I just, you know, I hear guys say it. I do this because it reminds me to do this. Well, but if you're doing something to remind you of doing something, shouldn't you be able to remember the something you're trying to remind yourself of?
Yogi Berra joining us in the booth tonight.
Seriously.
Yeah. Say that again.
If I can't. If you're trying to, all right, here. See, I can't do it.
You can't even get.
I can't. I don't have, and it cramps. Like I get muscle cramps in my.
Right there.
I like go right from shoulder to head. It just, there's nothing else in there. Did that make sense? What I said? I thought
think it did.
Might have.
Yep. Zobrist drops one in front of Jones for a 2-out single. Zobrist's second hit tonight.
Kept his front side in, I think, pretty well there.
Zobrist now 6 for 11 lifetime against O'Day.
Shin on the shoulder or not, watch his front shoulder and what it does. He stays right through the ball. Doesn't open up right there to the end and just does a nice job with his hands.
Front shoulder to back shoulder. That's why you hit there.
And you do whatever. I'll tell you what, hitting is a funny thing. And if you can stand on your head and you feel like you can still get a double in the gap, you try it.
It's like Johnny Cueto experimenting with all different kinds of things as a pitcher. Hitters do the same thing. I mean, Cal Ripken, who played so many years right here, changed stances multiple times in a game sometimes.
Multiple times during an at-bat. I've seen him do it.
It's all about feel.
Lorenzo Cain 0 for 3. '86, but from down under, as Jess said, it looks like more than that when it's coming at your chin.
It gets on you quick because it's you don't pick it up as quick out of his hand as you would a conventional over the top pitcher. I used to hate sidearm guys. Couldn't stand hitting off of them.
I think also you get a movement that isn't normal in baseball as much either, and almost a rise ball that, because he can get underneath the ball a lot more, he's able to get that late break that goes up in the zone. They can also be deceptive.
Now here, if he can start one at Lorenzo Cain's hips and then throw that big sweeping breaking ball, I don't know how you hit it. That's it, right there.
Foul it back.
Threw 2 pitches, one up, 2 pitches in off the plate, moved his feet, and then he throws one, starts at the center of the plate, and look at his hip.
Yeah.
Look at Lorenzo Cain's front side. It just opened up, and
that's a pitch he misses last year.
Outside, a full count.
I think that's probably one of the biggest improvements of Lorenzo Cain is the swing and miss. I mean, he fouls off a pitch that he wasn't going to hit anyway, but usually that's a swing and miss for him. Seen him strike out on that pitch a lot last year, and this season just able to get enough to kill it and get another pitch.
Davis will still hold on Zobrist with a full count and 2 down.
And an 8-2 game. Must be tired.
Runner goes 3-2, swing and a bouncer to Davis, and he'll win the race to end the inning. Going to the bottom of the 8th at Camden Yards with the Orioles up 8-2. tweets using hashtag #RepMyTeam. Every Sunday, be sure to send in a picture of how you support your team, and your tweet could wind up on TV. Back at Camden Yards, we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Orioles leading the Royals 8-2. A loss for Kansas City tonight would be 7 losses in their last 9 games. First pitch swinging. Steve Clevenger, little humpback one hopper up the middle, and good range by Escobar to throw him out 1 down.
Jeremy Guthrie doing a nice job. 2 pitches, 2 batters, 2 outs.
Efficient.
And 1 was a strikeout. He's thrown 2 pitches, gotten a ground out and a strikeout.
Not bad.
No. Quick work.
Formerly a starter for this team, Chris Medlin has taken his spot on the rotation the last 4 times through the rotation for Kansas City. Guthrie's been having a tough year.
You went to college with him?
Yep, both Stanford Cardinal. Talking football pregame.
If you all were so smart, why didn't you put the S on the end of Cardinal?
Because it's not plural. It's a color, not a bird.
Kane back to make the play, 2 down. Crucky, she answered that question like she's heard that comment 1,000 times.
Huge pet peeve.
Yeah.
It's the Cardinals.
But then the logo's a pine tree. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
here?
with the mascot's a little.
We were
confused.
the Indians.
Yeah.
Then we wanted to go PC. So you find the most PC thing in the world, a tree. Okay, and then they changed to a color. I mean, how can you argue a color? I'm not saying
Don't
it's
argue
the
with
best
me. Argue with
mascot.
him. It's not the best mascot.
It's not.
No.
It's the best band.
At least we know we're Mountaineers.
2 down for Nolan Reimold, who's 2 for 4. Yes, he did.
Where'd you go to school, Dan?
I'm a Canadian boy, as you know.
Why? I understand
The University
that,
of Western Ontario.
But I'm sure you had nicknames.
Yes, the Western Ontario, the Western Mustangs, the University of Western
good
Ontario.
nickname.
Go Stangs. London, Ontario.
Cardinal. It just tells you, probably the people who went to Stanford are very selfish players and only think of themselves because it's a singular name. I mean, we work with her long enough. We understand that.
Totally.
Dan.
This is a one-woman show.
Yeah.
And
Enough about me. What do you think about me?
Jesse's. This is how This is how he's welcoming you, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Crucky.
This is how Crucky shows affection.
Oh, I'll take it.
2-2 on Reimold.
What was your high school mascot, Crucky?
Golden Tornadoes.
What?
Don't ask. Apparently,
only in West Virginia.
Apparently, 100 and something years ago, a tornado came through our town and apparently had a gold hue to it, so they called it the Golden Tornado.
What was the logo? What was
it? Was a golden tornado, Dan. Well, come on.
What was the logo? Sorry.
Well, it was an oak tree.
I want to see a picture. Somebody tweet in a picture of what was the name of the high school?
Kaiser High School.
The Kaiser Golden Tornadoes.
Big win Friday night. Big win Friday night against a team at football. Just my brother was telling me today, Fort Hill, Maryland. Apparently they won their last 29 games or something. The boys and the Golden Tornado laid it on them, baby.
My trees could take them.
Yeah.
There's Manny Machado, 0 for 3, driven in a run, scored a run, walked, hit into a double play.
You bring your pine tree, my boys will build a tree stand on it.
Zach Britton is up in the Orioles pen, their closer.
See, but our nicknames are similar, Dan. Mustang, Golden Tornado, fast, powerful. Pine tree.
It's a redwood. Okay, it's not a pine.
Whatever.
It's a redwood.
Yeah, I think I got one hanging in my car. Pine scented. Nasty right there. Zach Britt, 97, 98 was sink.
Yep. Way out in front is Machado, 1-2.
New lumber.
A week from tonight, we will be at Citi Field. The Mets hosting the Yankees, with Matt Harvey expected to get the start in that game for the Mets after having his turn skip this time around. He'll pitch half games. The report out of New York is today. And continue to take a regular turn, but just throw fewer innings, fewer pitches each time out as they try to keep the innings down, but also try to keep them sharp for the postseason. Mets can't lose, by the way.
No.
Rallied late, beat the Braves in extra innings today, 10-7. Machado called out on strikes to end the inning. We're going to the ninth in Baltimore. Orioles up 8-2. Doubleheader of Monday Night Football action coming your way tomorrow night. Game 1, the Eagles and the Falcons. Game 2, the Vikings and the 49ers. It all begins with Monday Night Countdown at 5 Eastern Time on ESPN. Jess and I couldn't help but notice the Green Bay Packers will 1-0 after a solid road win over the Chicago Bears earlier today.
No better way to start the season.
Yeah.
Beat your rival.
Aaron Rodgers throws the prettiest ball I've ever seen.
He's unbelievable.
It's
top of the ninth and dialing it up if you're a Royals hitter, because Zach Britton is in the game for Baltimore.
This is like an offensive player's worst nightmare right now. It's 8-2. It's the last inning, and you bring in your 98-mile-an-hour sinker baller.
What do you think lefties are? Guess a batting average that lefties are against him this year.
I speak from experience. I would imagine 0.
It's a little better than 0.
95.
It's 121.
Yeah.
7 for 58.
That's not too good.
And Hosmer hoping to improve those numbers, but already in the hole 0-2. 7 for 59.
And that swing says it all. And then the pitch before it. Anytime a ball bounces twice and you're swinging as an incredible hitter as Hosmer. Watch the late break. I mean, this pitch looks, it's in the zone, it's in the zone. No, it's down.
And it's 97, 98, which is just, I just don't know how you can make a ball move that much in that short a distance.
I spoke with one scout today who said he thinks that Britton might be the best closer in the American League compared to stuff you guys remember to Johnny Venters when he was at his best.
Pretty good comparison, actually. His ERA this year is 189. Opponent's batting average 215. Strikeout to walk ratio is almost 6-1.
And it doesn't look like he's fallen into that that trap of you know, well, you can't bring a closer in. It's not a save situation because he'll give up a bunch of runs. Never understood that. But if you're not going to get a save, you don't care if we win or lose, or what? Must have went to Stanford.
Sounds like a golden tornado to me.
1-1. Down and in, ball 2. The big story tonight, another tough outing for Johnny Cueto. Cueto goes 6 1/3, gives up 8 runs, 7 earned on 11 hits, allows 4 homers, 2 to Scope, 1 to Jones, 1 to Davis. So Cueto now has had 5 consecutive subpar performances. Sinking liner to right, and it's caught by Parra.
Wow. Buck Showalter sings his praises, the versatility that Parra has. And as an outfielder, I mean, the toughest ball to read is the one right at you. You hear that all the time, but this one's sinking all the way, almost as much as Britton throws his pitches. And to be able to get under this ball as it's breaking low, to time this perfectly. It's a great grab and read by Parra. When you got a Gold Glover telling you, you're so good, you're so good.
Your hat doesn't fit, but that was a great catch. 2 down. Parra still smiling. Mike Moustakas is the batter.
Yeah, a little 97 on the black. Sinking. Lefty on lefty. Like she brought a Ravens pom-pom with her. I get ready to storm the field. This is what you play for when you're the Orioles and other teams who aren't in contention. Try to beat the big boys when they come in.
Bounced foul, 1-2. Your ball game. The Orioles take 2 out of 3 from Kansas City. The Royals have now lost 7 of their last 9 as they head to Cleveland for a 4-game series. They remain 2.5 ahead of Toronto for the best record in the American League, with the Blue Jays losing earlier today. Johnny Cueto struggles again. Wei-Yin Chen, a very good outing as he picks up his 9th win of the season, and Baltimore beats Kansas City by a score of 8-2. We'll come back and wrap things up from Camden Yards right after this.